All right. Hey, I think here we go. Okay. All right. Today, Carla is sitting in, and she's going to be listening. How are you, Carla?
Good. How are you, Jimmy?
Oh, muito bem. Obrigado.
You speak Portuguese very well.
Well, thank you. Mucho appreciate. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, what I want to talk about is something I think is very interesting. Um, there's probably a few things that I would like to talk about, but I want to try to keep it a little bit short for this video because I have so much trouble doing videos. It's so hard to do, and I'm not a very good speaker anyway, so the shorter the better. But I thought I'd
Mm-hmm.
just share this idea with you and just see what you kind of think about it. I'm pretty I'm pretty fascinated by it. I like to watch a lot of these true crime shows, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, really enjoy how they figure out the cases. Unsolved
Mm-hmm.
mysteries or mysteries. Murder mysteries and stuff like that. So it's kind of fascinating. Uh, Figuring stuff out and all that stuff. So, anyways, what I was noticing is there was there's a show called Forensic Files. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but
I'm familiar with that show.
okay,
Yes.
yeah, they just they they uh, sort of talk about a mystery that was solved, a murder mystery that and how they solved it and all that. Well, I'll give you one example. Like they'll somebody found these boys were out fishing in a river, and they pulled in on their fishing pole. They pulled in a skull, a human
Mm-hmm.
skull, and so I guess the sheriffs got real mad because now they're gonna have to investigate. You just caused us to have a big investigation. Now, they were disappointed in the boys for doing that, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is what it is, right? You find a human skull, you got to report it, and you got to investigate it and find out who it is and what happened. And well, anyway, so these guys, I guess you call them scientists or whatever, the experts, what they'll do, one of the first things they do when they find a human skull is they figure out what kind of human skull it is. It's either going to be a Caucasoid, not sure if I'm saying that right, Caucasoid, or a Negroid or a Mongoloid. Are you
Mm-hmm.
are you familiar with those?
Yeah.
Okay,
That is about if a person is white or black or Asian. Yes.
you got it. Yeah. What? Yeah, I think basically that's it. The Caucasoid is a Caucasian, a Negroid is a black person, and a
Yeah.
Mongoloid is an Asian. Okay, so there's some interesting things about this that I didn't realize. But first of all, I got to thinking because we were talking a while back, and I was talking about human population, how it would take what was it, 200 years to get population up to 25 billion people or whatever it was. It would take a very short amount of time for population to boom. Is the point that
Mm-hmm.
I was making, and but see when I was going through the numbers, I was including Noah's wife as being um or what was that? Well, hold on a second. Yeah. Noah's wife. No, I was talking here. I'm a little bit mixed up. That was before the flood. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know. For whatever reason, I was thinking that I had made the statement that Noah's wife had children after the flood. So maybe I didn't make that statement, but either way, if I did, I was wrong. I don't believe Noah and his wife had children after the flood. And let me see if I can find a verse. I think maybe I maybe I left it up here somewhere. I think it's oh, I got to think about what was that. How did that verse go? It must have been. It must have been. Excuse me. Is that you whistling? Okay, I got to think about this for a second because what happened is it has to be in chapter 9. It has to be. Okay, so all the populations of the earth, maybe you know better what I'm trying to get at than I am. Okay, so and all right, there it is. Okay, verse 19. Okay, can you see that? Yeah, okay. And verse
Yes,
19,
it's very small,
yeah.
but I can
These
see it.
are these are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. So what that verse says is the whole everybody is descended. Now this is probably common knowledge, right? And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
echoing something that everybody else already knows. But of everybody on earth, everybody comes from three people, and that's
Mm-hmm.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Okay, so if we connected that with what I was talking about just a little bit ago, the Caucasoid, the Negroid, and the Mongoloid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, wouldn't that make a whole lot of sense if everybody, if like say Shem was, you know, I don't even know. Shem was the Caucasoid, and Ham was the Negroid, and Japheth was the Mongoloid.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's interesting, you can't mix the two. If a Caucasoid and a Negroid have children, it'll either be one or the other. It won't be a combination of the two. And I find that very fascinating. Now, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now,
That's
there's
interesting. Very
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So their colors might be mixed, and their eyes their eyes might be crossed, but they're still going to only have that one skull shape or whatever you want to call it, that one skull type. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe though that skull type stems from either Shem, Ham, or Japheth, and I think that's the only way. I think it has to be that way, and I think that so that the three skull types serves as evidence of the Noah story. It supports it all the way for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so yeah, I think that's interesting. Now, what I found interesting is they say the Mongoloid is either Japanese, Chinese, or Native American. And I'm like, wait, Native American? Hold on a second. I thought Native American was kind of like Mexican or kind of a cross between, I just didn't know. I didn't think about. Are you telling me that Native Americans were like Chinese people? To me, that's crazy.
It doesn't look like like Chinese.
Well, maybe a little bit. You know that the the Native Americans that they present on the old movies, with the red skin and the long hair. Yeah, I could see, but see in the movies like the old Tonto movies or TV shows, they were using regular white folks to portray Indians, but
Mm-hmm.
real true Indians. I kind of wonder. I think well they have to be because they have the same skull type. They
Mm-hmm.
and it's a scientific fact that they got the same skull type. So it's interesting to think that the white man, the Caucasoid, came over here and pretty much annihilated the entire population of these Mongoloids, the Chinese, Japanese people, and we've since uh, why should we, not me, they had also uh, bombed Pearl Harbor and or not Pearl Harbor, but because of their excuse is Pearl Harbor. But they, what are those two? There's two places, Hiroshima and
Nagasaki.
Nagasaki. That's it. Yeah, yeah. So they just killed a whole bunch of those people, and then they went to war in Vietnam, which I'm not sure if Vietnam is even a Mongoloid type, but you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, it just seems like it's just awfully strange and a little bit interesting uh,
Very.
to think that this whole land, the North American land, was covered by Asian looking people, and the white man came in and wiped them all out. To make the connection between a Native American and the Asian looking people is interesting to me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, who's writing the history of all that? It's the victors, right? Those guys, those poor Native Americans, uh, don't hardly get any say for what happened. What was it, 400 years ago or whatever? Um, and Um, just to make another side point, people talk about segregation back in 40s and 50s and stuff, and they get all
Mm-hmm.
upset about it and they get all worked up about it because of the political ramifications and all this and that. But meanwhile, they're ignoring the fact that Native Americans are being segregated right now in our country. They get all huffy and puffy because blacks were given their own bathroom, 50 years ago. And blacks had
Mm-hmm.
to drink out of their own water from their own water fountain 50 years ago, and so on and so forth. And um, uh, but if you're going to get huffy and puffy about that, how's come you're not getting huffy and puffy about Native Americans being segregated right now as we live and breathe? Because, like, just 40, 50 miles from here where I'm at, there's an Indian reservation. And they said, well, that's their choice. They can live there if they want. Well, sure, they can, but uh, just because there are different ways of segregating people doesn't make it right. Because they segregate them one way, because they give them a whole bunch of money and let them have their own laws, give them their own benefits. Is that the same, or is that how is that completely different than the segregation that happened before we were born, and that you get all huffy and puffy about? So what's the difference? I'm not sure that there is a difference. So I just think it's a little hypocritical to get huffy and puffy about one thing and totally ignore the same thing that's going on today. So I don't know. I don't know if you have any thoughts about that. That's probably none of your concern, and it's hardly any of mine.
No, it's your country.
Yeah, it's not my country, but that's where I'm at it. Okay, so anyway, I just thought this was kind of interesting. So um, we've got Noah and his three sons and their wives coming off the boat. And from that point on, it's only Shem, Ham, and Japheth that are populating the earth. So
Mm-hmm.
so everybody comes from those three people, and isn't it interesting that the three skull types in the world today is the Caucasoid, Negroid, and Mongoloid? I just thought that was very fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, all right, and then so maybe I'm not sure if you'd be interesting. Maybe some next time or some other time. I thought what I brought up the other day. Maybe we could talk a little bit about. Uh, in the past, I've said that the whole world will be destroyed, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to go on the air and say I don't believe exactly the way I've said it in the past. I don't believe the whole world will be destroyed like it was in the flood, right? And so I kind of want to make a correction while I can, and then I'd like to
Mm-hmm.
go in and talk about it um, at some other point. But let me find this verse real quick. Um, do you remember what verse I'm talking about? Um,
No, it was verse 19. No.
no, that was about Shemham and Japheth.
Oh.
Um, okay. So here, I'm gonna it's every living. See if I can remember two key words out of it. I can find a verse, I should say. Okay, so God destroyed every living creature. And this is token which that is for, okay, so it's got to be right here,
Mm-hmm.
which is between you. Okay. It's got to be. Am I am I in error here? Tell me if I'm in error. Uh, verse 19 was, yeah, Shemham.
Yeah.
Oh, that was, yeah. But the covenant, the promise that God makes is that He will. Okay. Okay. So here in verse 15, and I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. That's not the verse I'm looking for, though.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can help. I can't help you.
Okay. Because sometimes I don't always remember what I put on the spot, but um, there's a verse somewhere. Let's just put it this way, that talks about God will no longer kill all the living
Creature.
creature. Yeah, didn't I just do a search on that? And yeah, maybe I should just let it go for now and um, get back to it some other time.
Yeah.
Does that sound okay to you? And because I
Yeah.
don't,
That.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right at this point.
We talk about this some other time.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. So I think it's interesting because, um, boy, if I was more prepared, but anyways, just because what I think is going to happen when the whole world is destroyed by fire is going to be the individual non-believers, the unsaved is going to be destroyed by
Mm-hmm.
fire, and
Mm-hmm.
God is going to send fire from heaven. Sort of like um, what's his name and his wife. Oh my gosh. You know what I'm talking about?
Um, you're talking
God said,
about
God said, don't look back.
I a lot.
Lot and his wife. Thank you. When they, when God told him to flee and said,
Mm-hmm.
don't even turn back, don't even look
Mm-hmm.
back. And what's Lot's wife? She looks back and instantly is turned to ash. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so there are stuff that we can't always explain and demonstrate here, right now on in this world, but there's a whole lot going on that we don't even uh, that we can't comprehend. I believe anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, I think that's what's going to happen, and um, I do believe that the animals will be spared, and that when there's a
Mm-hmm.
new heaven and a new earth, we're still going to have animals, unless uh, some somebody could prove me wrong, or if I find something in the. It's just a thought I had recently, so I wanted to share that with you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because I
It's interesting too.
Yeah, yeah, because I had believed that the whole world would be set on fire, and sort of like uh, like you put uh, metals into a furnace, and it comes out finer than what it was before. I don't
Okay.
think that's yeah. I don't think that's exactly. It's just the way I see things, and I think I was a little off on that. So, anyways, I thought I'd share that with you, and maybe we can talk about that more later.
Mm-hmm. What made you change your opinion about that?
Um, but like I said, the animals. So if and it just I don't know. It to me, I almost feel dumb saying this, but If you,
Any verse in particular you?
yeah, it's the verse, but then uh it's just like everything all of a sudden becomes clear. Everything makes more sense. Um, so let me see if I can find one verse to sort of uh,
Support your
yeah, to
idea.
support. Yeah. Thank you very much. Revelation 9. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. So that verse right there
Mm-hmm.
supports that idea that
Okay.
only
Mm-hmm.
the individually unsaved people will be destroyed, and
Mm-hmm.
that the animals, uh, you know, and all the different types of animals will still be here. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I just thought that was an
Yes,
interesting
it
idea.
is.
Yeah. So, and maybe we can talk about that some other time. Like I just pointed out here in Revelation, there's a lot of interesting stuff in Revelation that I want to share that I haven't really had a chance to talk about, but hopefully soon I'll get a chance to sort of share my thoughts and ideas on the book of Revelation, and specifically get into those things that I think people are way off on, and I think it's very clear. Uh, you know, and when we get to talk about it, you'll see what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think you should do that.
Yeah, because let me just say it this way: everything in the Book of Revelation is a lot more simpler than
Mm-hmm.
what we're being sold by a whole lot of big money preachers out there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, we'll talk about that some other time. Thanks for sitting in. Do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
No, thank you for having me here with you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure all the way because it's easier for me to talk to somebody than for me to sit here and talk to nobody. It's just so hard. So I
Uh-huh.
so I
Okay.
appreciate it very much, Carla. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Are you there?